Welcome to AICT Java Programming Lesson 2 Data Types and Operators. Java Basic Data Types. Variables are nothing but reserved memory location to store a value. So when you are when you are declaring a variable in Java, it will consume a memory from your it's consume the memory from your memory. It means from your RAM. Right? When the program is running, you know that one, it will consume the memory from the RAM. So when you are developing a program, if you are going to declare a variable, we will define a data type to the reason in to manage our memory. So in normal mathematics, we don't need to define a data type for a variable. But in programming language, we will define a data type because to manage the memory. Right? So variables are nothing but reserved memory location to store values. This means that when you create a variable, you reserve some space in the memory. So the memory is based on the data type of a variable. Right? So based on the data type of a variable, the operating system allocates memory and decide what can be stored in the reserved memory. Therefore, by assigning different data types to variables, you can store integers, decimal, or characters in these variables. So there are two types available in Java. There are two data types available in Java. One is primitive data type and another one is reference data type or object data type. So first we see about the primitive data types. There are 8 primitive data types supported by Java. Primitive data types are predefined by the language and named by a keyword. Let us now look into the 8 primitive data types in detail. So the first one, data type, primitive type, byte. The data type keyword is byte. So byte data type is an 8-bit sign to complement integer. So it will consume, for each and every byte data type, it will consume 8-bit of memory in your RAM. Then minimum value is minus 128. The maximum value is 127. Default value is 0. Byte data type is used to save space in large arrays, mainly in a place of integers, since a byte is 4 times smaller than an integer. For example, byte, the data type, A is equal to 100. Byte, B is equal to minus 50. Right? But you can't say byte A is equal to 300 because the range is, the maximum value is 127. And it consumes 8-bit memory from your RAM. The next one is short. The short data type is 16-bit sign. Right? So the short is consume 16-bit. If you declare a variable in short, it will for each and every variable it will consume 16-bit. The minimum value is minus 32,768. Maximum value is 32,767. Short data type also can be used to save memory as byte data type. A short is 2 times smaller than the integer. Default value is 0. For example, short is 10,000, short R minus 20,000. But you can't assign short X 40,000 because the maximum value is 32,767. Int, integer. The int variable, it consumes 32-bit memory in your RAM. The minimum value is minus 2 million approximately. The maximum value is 2 million, positive 2 million. Right? So it will consume but 32-bit. Long, it will consume 62-bit of memory for each and every long variable. Minimum value is this amount and the maximum value is this amount. I can't say in words, it's difficult, right? The float, so the byte, short, int and long are integers. It won't support decimal numbers. If you want to assign decimal numbers, float. It will consume 32 bit of bit of memory in the RAM, right? Double, it will consume 64 bit in the RAM. The other one is Boolean. Boolean is used to check the value is true or false, or 0 and 1, like that, or 1, right? Char is consume 62 bit in memory size. It will use to assign a single character, a letter. Character mean a letter A, B, C, D, or any characters in the keyboard. So these are the 8 primitive data types we can use in Java. Next we see the reference data type. So the reference data variables are created using defined constructors of the classes. They are used to access objects, right? So actually this one also you will get more idea when you are learning the object oriented. So in the previous lesson we learned the class and objects. So when you are making an object, right? So we put this is a class animal. So animal, here the animal, new animal, right? So the new animal is the reference variable. New animal is the new reference variable. So when you look at the example, in the last class we put scanner, something object in, new object in, right? We'll see an example from this here. You know about the scanner. Here the scanner, reader, new scanner. So here the new scanner is the reference variable. That is the reference variable. Right? This new scanner is a reference variable. Right? So you will get some more idea when you are learning the object-oriented programming. So here the reference variable is a constructor variable of a class when you are making an instance. Now next we see Java basic operators. So Java provides a rich set of operators to manipulate variables, right? So when you are creating a program, we have to perform mathematical and logical operation. To manipulate that one, we have 6 operators. So those 6 operators are arithmetic operators, relational operators, bitwise operators, logical operators, assignment operators, and MISC operators. So in this lesson we are going to learn arithmetic operators, relational operators, and the logical operators. Other 3 we will learn on another lesson. So when we are learning about the arithmetic operators are used in mathematical expression in the same way that we are used in algebra. The following table is listed about the arithmetic operators, right? So normally the addition, here addition, you know, right? Addition. So here we see A holds 10, B holds 20. So A plus B 30. Subtraction. A minus B will be minus 10. A into B will be, it means 10 into 20, 200. Division, B divided by A, 2. It means 20 will be divided by 10. The answer will be 2. So these are the normal addition, subtraction and multiplication, division. Normally we know. This one we call modulus. Sometimes this will be new for you. Modulus. It will give divide the left hand operand by the right hand and returns the remainder. B is the left hand operator, A is the right hand. So the left hand operator is divided by the right hand. So B is 20, A is 10. So B divided by A, so 2, and the remainder is 0. So it will give the remainder. If you want, I can show some more examples here. Just think 10 modulus 3. So it will be 1. So it means it will divide the 10 by 3. So it's 3. And the remainder is 1. It will take the remainder as the answer, right? Here when we say 9 modulus 3, it will be 0. No remainder. 15 modulus 4. The remainder is 3. Like that. So that is the modulus operator. Divide the left hand operator by right hand operator and return the remainder. This one, when you put 2 plus sign, that we call increment operator. It increases the value with the existing value. So b plus plus. So we told on the top b is 20. So b will become 21. This one we call decrement operator. When you put 2 minus signs. So it decreases the value of operand by 1. So b minus minus, it will give 19. So these are the arithmetic operators. Next we see the relational operator. There are following relational operators supported by the Java language. The relational operators, it will check the two values and return true or false. So here equal. 2 equal sign. When you put 2 equal sign, it check if the value of two operands are equal or not. If yes, the condition become true. Otherwise, false. Right. For example, here I'll give some more thing. Here, for example, I'll say x is equal to 5. So when you put 1 equal sign, it will assign the value to x. The 5 will be assigned to x. Right. 5 y is equal to 3. Now when you say x, 2 equal sign equal to y, it check whether x and y are equal. If x and y are equal, it will return true. Here in this case, those are not equal, so it will say false. It will return false. When you make this 5, y also 5, this will become true because those are true. Right? Now we see exclamation. When you see this one, so it will check the value of the two values are not equal. So in this case, it will become false because both are equal. Both are equal. So when you make the y3, so this will become true because this is not equal. This is go false. Right? So that is a not equal. The other one is, greater than. It will check the value is greater than, right? A greater than B. It's not true or false because A is 10, B 20. So A is not greater than B. A less than B, that is true. Greater than or equal. So just think, greater than 10 means it starts from 11. If you say greater than or equal, it starts from 10. 10, 11. Same like less than. When you say less than 10, it's 9. When you say 9, 8 like that. If it is less than or equal, 10 also included there. So these are the relational operators in Java. Now we see the logical operators. The logical operators also check the condition and return true or false. So here we say A holds true, B variable here holds false. And you have to put 2 and sign. So when you put 2 and sign, call logical and operator. If the both operands are non-zero or true, the condition become true. So here A true, B false. So here false. If you want to become this one true, A also should be true, B also should be true. So here B is false, so false. O mean either one is true, that is B. If any of the two operands are non-zero, the condition become true. A or B. A or B, so that will be true. Because here A is true. This is not, it will make it to not negative. So here A and B is false. When you make it not, here when you put exclamation, it will become not, it will be true. So these are the logical operators. Now we see Java decision making. So in a program, decision making also important. So decision making structures have one or more condition to be evaluated or tested by the program, along with a statement or statement that are to be executed if the condition is determined to be true, and optionally other statement to be executed if the condition determined to be false. The following is the general form of typical decision making structure. Right here, condition will give a condition. If the condition is true, there will be execution. If the condition is false, it will go to another part. So in this conditional, Java programming provide the following types of decision making statement. Right? If statement. Right? An if statement consists of a Boolean expression followed by one or more statement. If you use if statement, if the condition is true, there will be execution. Otherwise, nothing. If you use if and else, if the condition is true, there will be execution. If the condition is false, there will be another execution. Right? Nested if statement means if you have block of statement, right? You can use you have to check a condition. If that condition is not met, you have to check another condition. So for the another condition, you will use else if, and if that condition also not get met, you have to check another condition, another else if, another else if. You can put any number of else if after the if. And finally, you can put the else. It means accepting others. So that is the nested if. When you use the examples, you will get more idea. The switch statement. So in this lesson, we are not going to learn the switch statement. We will learn separately in another lesson. Switch statement also used to check a block of condition. And additionally, we have this conditional operator also. We call this one for decision making. A question mark and a colon. We call that is conditional operator. For example, we will give an expression and a question mark and expression 2 and expression 3. A colon and expression 3 semicolon. So if this first expression is true, the expression 2 will be returned. Else, it means if the condition is false, this expression will be returned. Expression 3 will be returned. Like if and else, right? The condition is, if the condition is true, expression 1 is the condition. If this condition is true, expression 2 will be returned. If it is false, expression 3 will be returned. Right? When you are doing the examples, you will learn more. Right? Now we will go to the exercises using these operators and these decision makings. So see this first exercise. Check whether number is even or odd using the if else statement. Right? So this is the code. So you have to check entered number is odd or even. Right? So here this is import Java util scanner, because we are using input, so we have to use this package. This is the class name, public class even odd. This is the main method. Main method starts here. In the scanner class, you are making a instant object, that is reader. New scanner. Now you know this scanner is a reference variable. Right. System in. System out println enter a number. Int num. Using the reader object, using the function next int, you are reading, scanning the keyboard input and assigning to the variable num. Now here using the if num modulus, we are using the modulus operator 2. It means you are dividing the entered number by 2, and if it is equal to 0, we are using the relational operator. So when you divide a number by 2 and the remainder, if the remainder is 0, that is going to be the even number. So system out println num, it means the entered number is even. Else, system out println the number is odd. So using the if else statement, we are identifying the entered number is odd or even. So we will save this one and we will run and see. I'll go to save as .java. I'm saving in the same folder, local disk E Java class. I will save that one. I'll go to CMD. E, it's E. CD Java class. Java C even or odd dot Java. Enter. It's compiled. Java even or odd. So enter a number. I'll enter 86. So 86 is even. I'll run again. So I'll say 83. 83 is odd. So the same program we will use the conditional operator. What we hear this one, question mark and the colon, using the right same concept, but using the not if else. You are going to use the conditional operator. Yeah. I'm going to see the same operator here, scanner, the class, same name, the main method, the scanner making object, system out until and enter, int, scanning the input. Now here see string, even or odd, string is a data type. For it's not a primitive data type, it's a for words and sentences. Even or odd equal, here see, this is the first statement. This is the condition, num divided by 2 and get the remainder, modulus, right? And the question mark, even, odd. So if this condition is true, the even will be returned to the variable even odd. If this condition is false, the odd will be returned to the variable even odd. So that is the conditional operator. According to the condition, if the condition is true, first value will be assigned to the variable or return. If it is false, the second value will be assigned to the variable. After that, system output num is even or odd. The same output is going to come, but the different way. We use the different way. Yeah. Same output. I'll compile again. Right. Enter a number 47. 47 is odd. Right. Same output. We use the different way. And you can use any of that way. Now we see, check whether an alphabet is vowel or consonant. Right. So here, we didn't use an input. If you like, you can use as an input to take a letter. So here straight away we are assigning a letter I. So cha is the data type. CH, the variable name, I, assigning a value I. And you are checking if CH is equal to A and you are using a logical operator O. CH is equal to E, O, CH is equal to I, CH is equal to O or U. So system output CH is a vowel. Else system output CH is a consonant. So you can guess what is the output is going to be. So if you, it will be a vowel because it's I, right? So system output, it's a vowel. So here we used relational operators. Here this is the logical operators and we use the if else for the decision making. So I'll save this one. .java, enter. I'll say Java C. .java, enter. Java, enter. I is a vowel. When I change this one to C and you have to save, you can take it from a input also. If you want, you can try like that. Call the scanner class package and read the keyboard and assign it to the variable. Yeah. Java C, vowel or consonant. So Java, the vowel. So now it's a C is a consonant. So here we use logical operators, relational operators. This one also, find the largest among three numbers using if and else statement. If and else if statement here. Checking the first condition, and if not met, you are checking another condition. Otherwise, this is here see double n1. N1 is a variable, minus 4.5, n2 3.9, n3 2.5. If n1 greater than or equal to n2 and the logical operator n1 greater than or equal to n3, so system output n1 is the largest number. So if after that else if n2 greater than or equal to n1 and n2 greater than or equal to n3, n2 is the largest number. Another condition, if this condition is not met, you are checking another condition. And after that else, it means n3 is the largest number. So try this example also and get the output. So here find the largest number among three using nested else if, right? Nested it means inside a condition another condition. You see, if n1 greater than or equal to n2, if this condition is true, you are checking another condition here. If n1 is greater than n2, again you have to check n1 is greater than or n3, and then only it will be the largest number. Otherwise n3 is the larger number. Else inside that again another condition. Otherwise you are checking n2 is greater than or equal to n3 and else, right? So inside you are checking another if and else. Inside else you are checking another if and else. So both are the same way, but same program, different ways. So try this exercise 5 also. Finally try this exercise, simple calculator using the if else if. Here we will, I'll copy this one and I'll explain it. Right, this is a command. If you want, you can delete it out. So import Java util scanner. We are calling the package for the scanner class. Because we are going to use the input. Public class calculator is the class name. Main method. Scanner, making the scanner class, making an object. Instant variable. System output, enter two numbers. Assigning those numbers, first read, next double. Second reader, next double, using the scanner class. After that, system output enter an operator, plus or minus or multiplication or division. Char operator, reader, next char at 0. You have to put this one because single character, that's array. First letter, one letter will be 0. We'll learn that one later when you are learning the array. Assigning that one to the operator. Double result is equal to 0, another variable, declaring another variable, and using if operator is equal to plus, right? Result is equal to first plus second. And else if this condition is not met, using another condition, if operator is equal to minus, result is equal to first subtracted by the second. If this condition is not met, checking another condition, multiplication, multiplying. If that one is not met, checking is a divide. If else, it means finally accepting addition, subtraction, or multiplication. If you enter any other correct, I say error, operators is not correct. After that, you are printing the result. System out print ln. System out print first plus, just a space operator, again space, second equal, and result. So we will save this one and run and see. I think it's already saved right now. No problem. Save as. Calculator.java. I'll compile that one. Java C calculator.java. Then I'll run Java calculator. So for I enter two numbers, I'll enter 85 space 95 and enter operator, I'll enter plus. So it's 85 plus 95, 180. Again I'll run Java, I'll enter number 8 space 9, enter operator, I'll enter multiplication, 8 into 9, 72. I'll run again, I'll enter number 85, and for the operator I'll enter something like this. So 85 into 85, so that's a enter two numbers, 85 exception handling, else because it's not a here, else it had to be go here, else if we'll put a return to stop that one at that point. Okay. (54) space 65, enter, I'll enter a letter. Yeah, it's a error operator. So here error operator is not correct. Error operator is not correct. So put a return here, because when you put return, it will stop the execution here. Otherwise, it will try this one and go to this one also. So that's why previously it did work. So if it is error, you have to print that one and you have to return. You have to stop it, terminate the program. Return. That's why return. So it's a error operator is not correct. So try these all 6 exercises and email to me. Thank you for watching.